Good afternoon. I need some assistance on picking up on signs when I'm acting inspired and I'm pursuing what's in my vibrational escrow. An example this morning, I've spent a lot of money. It's been a very inspirational journey to buy this big courthouse. It's an old courthouse that's been restored, but it's been one heck of an action journey to try to finance it. My dream, it's in a city in Rhode Island, Woonsocket, is to bring Hollywood there. And through a course of events, the state of Rhode Island is giving tax credits. Michael Correnti was looking to get pitches on horror pictures, okay? And although I would love to have a superhero picture, it's like that's really vibrationally where I'm at, I thought the next logical step would just get in the business. So this morning, I went and I brought a friend who loves the movie industry, and we left a little late, and I got there, and I was number 86. Now, you're in town, Abraham, and boy, this is big. I greatly enjoy being in your presence. And I said to my friend, I said, okay, I'm number 86, and we're not gonna get heard till 4 o'clock this afternoon. I said, I wish number 1 through 10 would want to sell something because I'm there, And then a guy who was number 14 came up to me and said, do you want to buy number 14? And I said, yeah. And he sold me number 14 for $100. And I went to the front of the line. I don't know what you said in the morning. I only came in for the afternoon. But I find in my vibrational craw that although I appreciate moving to the front of the line, I have problems with, I'm an attorney, hate to tell you, and we can go on and on, but the thought of it was pleasing because the universe, a door opened, but I wondered whether my vibration wasn't pure enough that I could have gone in without having to have paid the money. I had number 13 and number 15 sitting next to me going, we want the story of number 14 here because you weren't here at 7 o'clock. And I just focused on, I want to make my presentation, did a good presentation. I think I have a good chance of having a horror movie made in my beloved courthouse, but it's the next logical step for me. So why does number 14 have to cost $100, Abraham?
Because you don't want to make a horror movie.
I can understand when you take it out of the equation, okay? When someone's removed from something, I could wait forever to have someone say, now we're going to do tryouts and pitches for superhero movies, or I could just try to fund it myself.
Well, here's the thing that we appreciate so much, the description of what's been going on, and we know that life experience yields to you proportionate to your vibration, and it's hard for you to hear because you are so aware of the manifestations and they're happening so rapidly. Sometimes it's hard to notice the vibration that is at the heart of them. But everything, when you say, why is something a little hard? We say, well, it's just responding to where your vibration is, and if it's a little hard, then you need to soften your vibration. If it costs more than you want it to, then you want to soften your vibration. But in all of that, it's hard to hear, and so we just want to keep telling you stories of how it feels when things really begin to work. What we can feel mostly in what's going on here with you is that you have you set forth an intention, and the intention has begun to come into fruition, so that you have found something that you really want, and now you are wanting to find other ways of utilizing it and other ways of paying for it. And so in that sense, the next logical step is appearing before you. And before we answer the specific details of what you're talking about, and we want to talk about the laws and that are the premise of all things that happen. And we want to remind you that when you deal with vibration beforehand rather than after the fact, which is sort of what's going on here, when you are able to get things rolling by giving thought to them, and then you are following through with inspired action, and the action is unfolding in a way that is really satisfying to you. Let us just give you some examples. So, years ago, Esther began receiving a series of fictional books that were based on this work. It's the Sarah series. And they're simple little stories, but in the story is an owl who plays Abraham, who explains how things work. And Esther loved those stories. She loved them as they flowed through her. She felt the suspense. She felt the unfolding. She's loved them. And over the years, many people have come to her wanting to make movies from these books. And nothing quite clicked. They sort of had a few false starts and could feel that things were not moving in the direction of what they wanted. And so, because they weren't trying to make anything happen with it, it was something that was clearly in Esther's vibrational escrow. There was no negative emotion, so there was no trying to make it happen. It was something that was out there for her to discover when she came into vibrational alignment with it. So a number of things began happening, and Esther began to realize the power of this information and the number of people who are looking for it. In part, the secret was part of that evolution within Esther. She realized that people want to know this. They just don't want to get involved in the metaphysical part of the bookstore. In other words, they want to know how to create a better reality. They just don't want it to be this woo-woo stuff. And so Esther could feel that desire exploding within her, and at the same time, a friend that they've known for a long time, who's been coming to Abraham gatherings, contacted them and said, I have directed some movies, I have been writing for television, and I just keep feeling that I want to do something around the Sarah material. And Esther's knee-jerk response was, we've been down that road and we're not ready to go down that road again. So she just sort of abruptly closed that door. It was her need. Hang in here just for a minute with us. It was just for a minute. Okay. Just for a little minute.
I hear all your tapes. I know the transition. I know.
Oh, but you don't know what happened this week. You don't know what happened since the last tape.
Good. Okay. I would love that. But I've heard. Believe me, I've heard all the tapes. So if you're doing it for me, you can just go right to it. But
this is all for you. This is all for you. This is 100% for you.
Okay.
This is in response to the question that you're asking. This is the key to you coming into vibrational alignment with what you want. This is the key to you understanding what your work is to do here and now. This is a real life example that will show you, if you can hear it, how your work is to do nothing until the feeling of impulse is so strong within you that you cannot bear not to follow the impulse. This is an explanation of something. This is the way the universe works in optimum conditions. This is the way it is supposed to feel for you. This is an example of absence of struggle. This is an example of what pure alignment will bring you. This is an example of the universe doing all the work and you just following the impulse that gives you the fun activity that you can't avoid doing because you feel it so powerfully, that yields you result after result after result after result after result. So here's the rest of the story. So Stuart comes to a session. You heard this part. Feels inspired. You've heard this part. Gets all tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You've heard this part. Sends Esther some music. You've heard this part. That sends her into orbit. You've heard this part. Esther calls Stuart and says, Stuart, our Sarah movie has got to be a musical. And Stuart nearly dies on the telephone because he's always wanted to do a musical, and Esther doesn't know what a musical genius he is. So Stuart, who has sent Esther this music, Esther says to him, here are some examples of music for this musical. If you will write some music, I will put some words to them, because I can put words to music if the music makes me feel this way. 2 days later, Stuart delivers to her 5 songs, all of them right where Esther wants them to be, and all of them evoking powerful lyrics from Esther. So now they're on fire, they're off and running. So then Stuart comes to see them in Texas because they're working on the treatment. And as he is walking the grounds, even though this movie in Esther's mind is set in a little mountain town, not out in the middle of Texas, as Stuart walks around their 40 acres, he can see place after place where this musical can be powerfully filmed. And then they begin thinking about what other things they will need. And so Esther says, let's drive into this little town of Bernie and let's look at the school and see if it looks like Sarah's school to you. Esther's not seen this school before. And they drive up to the school, and Esther says, Stuart, that's Sarah's school. And Stuart said, it is. I know that it is. And then he says, so we're looking for a grocery store, we're looking for Pete's drugstore, we're looking for a library, we're looking for a stream, we're looking for a river, we're looking for a bridge, we're looking for Sarah's leaning perch, we're looking for the treehouse, we're looking for. And Esther is saying, I know it, I'm looking for it too. And then Stuart leaves Jerry and Esther and goes with his partner the next day into Bernie with his camera and is taking a picture of this little schoolhouse, and a policeman stops him and says, what are you doing? And he says, I'm scouting for a movie location. And the policeman says, I am your very best friend because I am a movie buff of all movie buffs. I'm an amateur filmmaker myself. I know every place in this town and I have the keys to everything. I will show you your library. I will take you to your leaning perch. I will take you to your stream. I can show you where the river is best. I can show you everything about this. And so Stuart calls Esther, and he's beside himself because he cannot believe his good fortune. And Esther, while she is excited about his good fortune, believes it because she is understanding that that is the way that it is supposed to unfold. So then he finds someone in Austin. There are a lot of people there that are helping with the musical part of this. And as he is visiting with this person, she begins to talk, and she is helping them with the graphics and some of the special effects for this movie. And it turns out that she also lives in that little town and that she knows that policeman. In other words, the things that have already been prearranged in vibrational escrow, Jerry and Esther did not know when they bought that land that it was part of the movie that has been Esther's vibrational escrow for a very long time. Jerry and Esther did not know when they met Stuart that he was the balanced counterpart to this fabulous production. They did not know that he was a musical genius. They did not know that he was a part of their vibrational escrow. They only knew that they adored him. They only knew they wanted to stay close to him. They only knew they wanted to keep up their relationship with him. They did not know how it would be fulfilled. So what we're saying to you is, and there is so much more that we could give you that we don't want to take the time to give you the intricate details of it, but we want to say to you that this thing that you want, even before you are able to define it, is fully developed in your vibrational escrow, and all of the components to bring it to fruition are there for you too. And it's not your job to scout for the movie. It's not your job to figure it out. It's not your job to try to make it happen. It's only your job to do the best you can do to hold the vision from where you are as best you can. That Esther didn't even know there was a musical within her, and now she could not live without it. Esther did not know that Stuart was a musical genius, and now she thinks he is the most important musical creator on the planet. Esther did not know that they would film a movie on their property in Texas, but now she cannot imagine why there would be any other reason in the world that they would have purchased the property. You see what we're getting at? The universe will deliver deliver the unfolding to you, and it's not your job to figure out how or where or who or when. It's only your job to hold the essence of the feeling, and the universe will deliver to you all of the components, and your work is to follow your bliss. Your work is to follow the lead that feels the best, not try to make it happen.